What's up, North County? You're tuned into the Backstage Pass with the Rebel Bear. I'm here tonight with my very good friend, Pedro Ramirez. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
Thank you so much for coming in. I truly appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're, without fail, probably one of my favorite drummers, and I'm stoked to have had the chance to jam with you many times with Soundhouse and Donna Lou. I think we played there.
Oh, yeah.
Jammed with you there with her too. So yeah, glad to have you. Definitely.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, I know it was kind of a little bit of a short notice, but wanted to get you in here. Our time's kind of short for this month, but had to get you in, man.
Here I am.
Cool. So born in Paso Robles.
That's right.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
And you junior high, high school, did you kind of run with all the same kids when you were at that time? Like,
I guess in middle school and high school, for the most part, I moved around a lot as a kid because when you moved to a different side of town, you'd switch school districts.
Right.
So I went to almost every single elementary school here.
So you knew everybody.
I guess so.
Yeah, that's funny. So drums at the age of 12?
Yeah. Yeah, my dad got me a drum set for my birthday, on my 12th birthday. I was already interested in music. I'd already joined the middle school band in 6th grade, so when I was 10, 11, and I was playing trombone because I was not good enough to play drums yet. I did originally go and audition to play drums. They said no, put me on trombone, and then 7th grade is when I got a drum set.
What do you think their reasoning was for saying that you weren't good enough?
It could have had to do with my last name starting with R, because they would do it in alphabetical order by last name of who's auditioning. So it might have been filled already, but also I feel like if I had made the cut, they would have pushed me into that section.
Oh, right, okay. Because I was just about to say, why would your last name have anything to do with it?
Yeah.
That's kind of silly, but I could see that now, definitely.
Yeah.
So who were your influences when you were for drummers when you were growing up?
Number one influence was the drummer for Slipknot, Joey Jordison. And I discovered them in 5th grade. Wasn't allowed to listen to him, but I was so fascinated. And he was so fast and so brutal and so raw. And even before I was playing the drum set, I was making drums out of like coffee cans and pots and pans, and I was drumming along to whatever songs I can get a hold of at the time. And he was the one I was playing along to the most.
Now, when you were doing that, you said you weren't technically allowed to listen to it, so were you like sneaking off in your room with pots and pans and stuff, or what?
No, they wouldn't know. My parents wouldn't know, but I grew up in a very Christian household.
Right.
So I would get like the knockoff versions of these non-Christian bands in the Christian form. There's still some good bands,
right,
but Slipknot was the one I was the most inclined to listen to, and I couldn't listen to them very much. I did get a CD one time. I think someone bought it for me, kind of sneakily, and so I listened to it. And eventually I was old enough to listen to it and not get in trouble.
Were they a Christian-based band?
No, Slipknot was not.
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
There was other bands that sounded like them in the Christian market that I was allowed to listen to.
Right.
So I grew up on a lot of that too. But
so it was just the difference between the message, right?
yeah, and of course the masks, the shock value,
Right.
really offends some people.
Yeah, my parents weren't hot for Kiss when I first heard them, and I was like, oh, look at this band. And my dad's like, you're not listening to that crap,
Yeah.
But as a parent, I would refrain my daughters from listening to something if I thought it wasn't going to be good for them.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of
I get that.
music can be detrimental in many ways if it's not proper. It can mess with your mind, and and I hate to say that because music is a beautiful thing, but it doesn't always have a great message. So
That's very true.
yeah. So and then was it Jeff Smith? Is that who it was? The other drummer that you liked? What was from Zayo?
Oh, Jesse Smith from Zayo, yeah.
Yeah.
Zayo was the first really heavy kind of hardcore Christian band that I heard.
Oh, okay.
And being into drums at the time too, and growing up, listening to other Christian bands and whatnot, they were more fundamental for me.
Right.
They were super hard. He was a great drummer. He had a very specific style. You can always tell when he was playing. So he was definitely one of my earlier drumming influences too.
It's crazy how I can definitely hear certain guitar players. I can kind of sometimes hear certain drummers, not so much drummers, but guitar players. I can hear a guitar player and go, that's who that is. Or, most people
they
can
got a
nowadays.
sound.
Everybody has, a lot of guitar players nowadays have a distinct tone and style and sound, which is pretty cool. It's like even a few guitar players around here. You guys like Mark Shizzle, or Al Martinez. You hear him and you just go, oh, that's you can tell who it is.
Yeah.
Which is cool because it gives them their own little identity.
Absolutely does.
And a lot of the singers around here too. You hear Donna Lou, that's Donna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool. So started playing trombone in the school band. Your band teacher, was it Kenny Schultz?
Kenny Schmutz.
Schmutz.
Yeah. He was a very pivotal man in my life for music. And he just had a way of believing in kids and encouraging them.
Right.
And everyone that I know that has been in band, whether they came before me or after me and they encountered Mr. Schmutz, everyone had great things to say about him. He passed away a few years ago.
Oh, bummer.
But he held out for a long time teaching middle school, high school, even elementary school band. I believe the St. Rose Catholic School Band. And so he was a big part of the community, big part of everyone who was in band.
So almost kind of like a conductor of the whole thing, or what?
Yeah, conductor, mentor. He's a great trumpet player.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's overall really good guy. I saw him probably a year before he passed away, and I hadn't seen him since maybe 10 years before that.
Right.
And it was interesting. It was cool to update him on my life, and I'm still playing professionally. I've been touring. I write music now and all this, and he just seemed so excited that one of his students was still keeping at it. And
oh yeah, because that comes full circle for him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like one of those things where, he can look at you and go, man, I did good with Ted.
I hope so.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, with the stuff that we're going to talk about, it's like, I can't believe a lot of the stuff that you've done. And I'm really in awe of you. Like when I chatting with you yesterday, I was like, whoa, this guy's you've done a lot. So your first high school band, Thorn?
That's right.
And what was that? How was that? What kind of heavy music?
It was hardcore. Yeah, it was like similar to the band Zayo that I talked about earlier. It was kind of a little more on the thrashy side, trying to be really heavy. We're screaming, playing hard riffs. But it was the first band for many of us, the few guys that were in the band, and so we just played every weekend. And I'd bring my drum set over, or they'd come over to my house, and we just play for hours. I'm sure my neighbors loved it.
How in that time of your, musical endeavors, how were your parents pretty down for it?
Yeah, they were. They've been so supportive, even when I was making the neighbors angry or playing too late at night, or they would even let me play inside the house sometimes, just practice my drums. They always were supportive, even when they thought it was a phase. They thought I'd be done in a year or two. And just kept going, kept playing. And yeah, my dad's been to so many of the shows I've played. My mom came to a few when she was alive, and she was in better health. She came out. Brothers and sisters, all of them have been to so many shows of mine to come see whoever I was playing with at the time, whether I was on tour in a different state or playing locally around here. Everyone's been super supportive.
I want to almost say, how long's your dad been gone?
My dad's still here. My mom passed away a couple of years ago.
I was going to say, I almost think I've, somewhere in my mind,
You've hung out with my dad.
I've met him.
For sure.
Yeah. I think so, which is cool. I'm glad to have met him.
Yeah.
So who was all in that band in Thorn?
Two guys, Jonathan Pio and Caleb Whittington.
Cool. So you were just the three-piece.
Yeah.
And did you ever? And what was it? Jonathan did the vocals on that.
Yeah, he was a lead vocalist, just screaming, screaming lyrics.
Right. Did he ever go? Did either one of those guys ever go past that for the most part?
In music?
Yeah.
I believe Jonathan played in some other bands after that, but I haven't talked to him in at least 15 years.
It's weird because I played music with a lot of people when I was younger, and out of all the people that I played music with, Eric McCornack's the only one that kept going. Like, and all my other friends would say to me, "Man, I can't believe you kept going. Like, I can't believe you're still playing music."
Yeah,
and it's like,
I get that a lot.
it's like, well, why would I quit? Yeah. Why
exactly.
would I? I love it. It's one of the coolest things ever. Blessed with Embers.
Yep, that was the next band that came through. I started that with my friends too. And the two guitar players kind of approached me at a show, at one of the two shows I played with that other band. And we just started writing music. Same situation, just got together every week, once or twice a week sometimes. Would have band practice. And our first show was in a basement. And it was so much fun. Big crowded basement, hardcore bands. And shortly after that, we switched singers. The singer at the time was Cameron Hutton. And still friends with him, still a good guy, still around. And then Danny Cardinelli, he's still around here too. He's a well-accomplished restaurant owner. He's been around Orange County, came back here. But he was the main singer for a while.
Oh, okay.
And we played a lot of shows together. We never did a tour. We've done maybe one or two runs in a row, but played up to like Sacramento, Salinas, down to Hollywood. A lot of local shows around here.
Yeah. And that was like what, maybe in the 90s or 2000s or?
Oh, that was 2005, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't around. I was in New York at that time, and it was weird because when I left, all the bands that were here were mostly original bands.
Yeah.
When I left in like 2000, there were some cover bands around, but those were mostly just the older cats. And then when I left and I came back, I was talking to Eric. I'm like, I'm going to put a band together. It's going to be original. He's like, yeah, nobody's doing originals anymore. Like, wow.
Trying to work.
Yeah. So was it another hardcore Christian band, See the Light?
That's right. Yeah, that one came shortly after Blessed with Embers, because I had left Blessed with Embers. They continued on and played without me and swapped members for a while. And I started this other band with some other friends I knew from church. And it was a band that I felt like I was writing more of the music because I did play keyboards.
Right.
I could not play guitar, but I would try to teach the guitar players how to play their parts,
Right.
And yeah, it started out as like a really heavy worship band. So we even played at winter camp, like a Christian winter camp a couple times. Played at the church basement quite a bit. Played a lot of like Christian-based shows or church-based shows. And then we played the other side. We played festivals with like devil worshiping bands. We played in dirt parking lots, anywhere we could really, because it was really kind of like a ministry band playing hardcore music. And we did that for a handful of years.
A lot of kids migrate to that?
Definitely, yeah. And at the time we were doing it, there was a huge Christian, like spiritual movement within the hardcore scene. And so we kind of came around at that time when a bunch of other bands were doing it. So it was a more popular thing.
See, that's cool because to me, I always want music, whatever it is, to have a good message.
Yeah.
I want the message to be positive. A lot of the stuff that I'll write, when I was younger, I wrote stuff that was not positive. It was always like, oh, the world sucks. But the more I went along, I was like, you need to write stuff that's more positive. People migrate to that a little better.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, even if they can't really hear what you're saying, because if you aren't a screaming hardcore band, I think the message still will get out. There's still that positive energy coming out of it.
Right. We're going to take a quick break, but I want to come back to See the Light when we get back. Hey, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break.
Are you tired of looking at that worn-out concrete garage floor, patio, or porch? Look no further than MGP Coatings, where customer service reigns supreme. Our team goes above and beyond to ensure your satisfaction every step of the way. Before we even start coating, we meticulously repair your concrete, ensuring a flawless finish that lasts. And here's the best part. Our Pentec coatings are 4 times stronger than epoxy, so they won't chip or peel, making maintenance a breeze. Plus, they come with a limited lifetime warranty. Call us today at 805-952-5301 or check out our Facebook and Instagram and experience the MGP coating difference. Don't wait. Transform your garage, patio, porch, or driveway and become a part of the MGP coating family.
Hey, what's up, North County? Backstage Pass with the Rebel Bear. Got Mr. Teddy Ramirez in the studio. So, See the Light. Who was all in that band?
Originally, it was Kevin Glaudel, Taylor Szabo on the guitars, Shadi Majoub playing bass, Barrett Colvin, lead vocalist, and Mikey Ritter was playing keyboards.
Yeah, when we were talking, Mikey Ritter is the son of a good friend of mine.
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, Tony, such a great guy. I actually worked with Tony for like 10 years at a job site. He was the main foreman over everybody. And He was such a good guy. And I remember I'd gotten, basically a wet and reckless, and I lost my license for like 3 months.
Oh man.
And they ultimately they kicked it out. Like they called it a wet and reckless, but I did lose my license, but it wasn't technically a DUI because basically I didn't blow over. The guy was just wanted to bust my nuts, and
Perfect.
that's what he did. But Tony every morning he'd drive from Paso, swing by my apartment in Atascadero, and I'd stand out on the street and wait for him. He'd take me to the job site and then bring me back home and drop me off.
What a guy.
For like 3 months. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
So, but
Good family.
I watched Mikey, heard him. I was at their house one time doing some work, and he was in the living room playing the piano.
Yeah.
And he was really impressive.
Yeah, he
was
rips.
Like, man, that kid is good. And like, he was like half he was a kid, you know?
Yeah.
I think I was in like my 30s, and I was listening to him. I'm like, whoa, dang, I better step it up. Yeah. So that's cool though. And they were your first touring band?
Yeah, so that was a band. We went after it pretty hard, as we could in high school, and then right after high school, we still continued to play. Some of the guys were still in high school, and I was out.
Right.
And we tried to play anywhere we could around here. We'd travel a bit, and then I believe Mike Ritter took it upon himself to book the first tour and kind of get it going. And it was only a couple weeks, just up and down the coast,
Right.
up to Washington and back, and that was a good time. Yeah, we that was roughing it for sure. No hotel rooms. We slept on Walmart parking lot floors, dirt parking lots, anything we could really.
Just camped
sleep.
out.
Yeah, camped out.
What did you use, like a van or something?
Yeah, we were in a I think it was a Ford Explorer, in a trailer, and we had another band with us that we were friends with from Bakersfield. They're called Silence O Israel. So they had a van and trailer, so we kind of post up wherever we could and sleep.
Right.
You know, sometimes if we played somewhere, someone would offer for us to come over and at least shower or something. But yeah, that was a really good time.
That's cool. Like truck stops are your best friend, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Gas stations.
Totally. How funny.
Starbucks.
Yeah. Were there a lot of Starbucks along? I guess up there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was enough for us to all go to the bathroom and get some food.
Right. And then what was fast food and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, fast food, Taco Bell, maybe a little bit of snacks from the gas station. We're all kind of broke too, so we weren't really eating that much.
Did you guys ever have to just sleep in the van together?
I don't think we did. I think we would go to a parking lot and just put our sleeping bags on the
Oh, that's cool.
the floor and just sleep
So the
there.
weather was weather was good enough for that.
Yeah, it was summertime. You know, by the time we made it over to like Nevada, it was pretty hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, still slept on the ground though.
Oh, there you go. I've slept on the ground quite a few times myself.
Yeah.
Not for that reason, but camping and stuff. So at that point, so that was 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
And then you went to college at the LA Music Academy in Pasadena.
That's right. Yeah.
And you received your AA in music performance, your associate's arts degree.
Yep.
Wow, impressive. How many people know that?
Maybe a lot more now.
Yeah. Well, there
Yeah.
you go. You guys, that's pretty cool. There's not a lot of musicians running around with their AA, which is cool because it opens up a lot of doors for you. Right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I ever got a gig because of the degree itself, but the amount of effort put into learning the curriculum and practicing. There was a time where I was practicing at least 40 hours a week outside of class. There was a group of us that we would just get together, we'd practice, we'd rent out the lock space at the college and go back and forth practicing and going over the material. It even to this day, there's material from the exercises of the books that I was studying that I still use on gigs now that I'm still learning from. So it was like a whole chunk of information in those 2 years. We practiced a lot. And then afterwards, I felt like I was the worst drummer because I had just all this information. I couldn't quite get it all out. But over years, I was getting better and better at being able to apply all the things that I learned in school.
Being able to articulate the information that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like in a way, vocally, that's kind of how I feel sometimes. It was like, I kind of know how to do it, but I'm kind of still trying to learn how to move through the notes and do all the things that I've been taught over the years. But it takes a while to get that down.
It really does.
But once you get it down and you realize it, like you recognize it, you're like, man, it's like it was worth all that work to do.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like to be in a situation where you could have failed, but because of the practice you put in, because of the time you put in to learn whatever it is you need to learn for that gig, you were able to show up and actually do it properly.
Yeah, that's how I feel about like when I study. Like I try to study like as often as I can. So I want everything when I go on stage to be second nature for me.
Of course.
So then that way I can interact with the crowd more. Because if I'm just constantly trying to think of my next line or the next, melody or whatever, it kind of ruins it for me. So if I already have all that.
It takes you out of the space,
Yeah, if I already have all that, I feel so much more comfortable and at ease. And I think that reflects to the crowd. And the crowd's like, oh, he's got it down. So, and I can imagine with the drums, that's a whole, like, people can tell when a drummer is stumbling, or not.
Yeah.
If a drummer is like somebody like yourself, who's like, you're a pretty freaking smooth drummer. I've been on stage with you, and you make it look easy. So, and I've seen other drummers that didn't make it look easy, and their timing was just kind of off kilter a little bit. And timing is like one of the hardest things, right?
It's you got to focus on it.
Yeah.
It has to be one of your second natures too. So
I've played with a few drummers. They're great drummers, but there's some drummers out there that like they'll start off great, and either their tempo is so great that they just stay there, and it like how when you're playing, you're always going to speed it up just a little bit.
Yeah, a little push and pull.
Yeah, and I'm used to, everything when I've played it live. I don't control the tempo, so I'm used to it being a little kick up, a little quicker. But when you got somebody that's like right in the pocket and just keep it right at the meter, it's almost tough. It's almost harder for me to sing it because I'm like, I feel like speeding this up.
Yeah, you're feeling the energy to keep moving.
Yeah.
And
that can be rough for me. Sometimes I just like, is this gonna be over? Because it makes it difficult for me. So now, when you got your associate's arts degree, were there things that you like doors that got opened up for you?
As far as that, I got some gigs from being at the college.
Right.
backing up some artists. The musical theater group that I started playing with in college, I played with them for like 6 or 7 more years after that. But
Yeah, I was just about
pretty
to
much
ask you
landed
that.
because, I was like, I think the 6th or 7th call. Because no one, I'm going to college. No one really knows me, but I knew a few people. Somehow the director got my number, and he was like, "Hey, we have this Christmas concert. The drummer's sick. He can't be here. We have a rehearsal in 2 hours, and the show's tomorrow." And I was like, "I'm not doing anything." I was too broke to like drive home for Christmas at that time.
Right.
So I was already home for this time, and I was like, "Yeah, I actually live 3 blocks away from where you're rehearsing, so I'll be right there." And because I was practicing so much and we were sight reading, he just handed me all these charts. It was a couple hundred pages of charts in this book. And so we just, at the rehearsal, ran down through everything. I was listening, reading, and it felt like everyone just kind of was at ease. Like,
Now,
we have a percussionist here, this is going to work. And then
when you're in a situation like that, can you read off the charts and sight read as you guys are playing?
Yeah.
Or do they frown against that? So you're allowed to do that?
It was an orchestra, so everyone's reading charts going along.
It's funny because, I've always been one to like sometimes bust people's chops about, you're reading something on, and then I think, orchestras are reading charts all the time, so just shut up over there, Kelly. It's like.
I get it. I think there's a time and place.
Right.
Like there's certain shows where like you probably shouldn't be reading charts on stage.
Well, I look at like if
you're
an actual performer, then yeah, you probably shouldn't be reading charts or whatever. But if you're doing something like that where and all that is so much more, I mean, like a guy like you, rock is okay. It's got to be probably the simplest, right?
It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, to me, when I look at people that are really Joe, bass player.
Joe Duran.
Sometimes when I watch him play, especially when he's playing the bass and he's playing rock, and he's played for everybody. He's just such a great player. I sometimes watch him and I know where he's been because I got to do a show with him and his wife. They actually asked me to be in their band at one point, and I did it. But I did one show with them, and at that show, I got really sick, like not physically sick, but my breathing was limited, and I thought if I get any more sick, I'm just going to be wasting their time. So I backed out after that show.
Wow.
But rehearsed with them, I think like 3 or 4 times with their band, and he's just so fluent, on the bass, and then go from that stuff to watching him play just rock, and it's kind of like he's like, and it's like, wow, sometimes I look at it and go, you got not that he's bored because he's doing it, so he's got to be enjoying it, but I just wonder like, wow, it's got to be sometimes dragging a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder that man can do anything.
He can, and now he's playing guitar.
Huh?
I said now he's playing guitar.
Now he's playing guitar with Soundhouse.
Yeah, crazy. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with Teddy. What's Up North County Backstage Pass.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Hi, this is Omid
and Deanna
at North County Junk Removal. We are a business known for helping our neighbors and our community.
Let us help you save money and get rid of any unwanted items.
And rest assured that our professional team adheres to global standards of safety and recycling. We are fully licensed and insured for your peace of mind.
We are locally owned and operated, and we look forward to helping you with all your junk removal needs.
Please call us at 805-769-6966.
Hey, what's up, North County Backstage Pass? We're here with Teddy. So you were playing with a band called Silent Planet.
Yeah, right after, near the end of college and right after. Yeah.
And what kind of band is that?
I'd probably pose them at the time as like tech metal. So it wasn't your typical metal with riffs. It was way more technical. There was odd time signatures, a lot of really interesting syncopated beats going on, really interesting lyrics, melody, and vocal structure.
So was it more along the lines of like a progressive or?
Yeah, definitely more of a progressive band.
Right. And how did you like doing that opposed to everything else? Because you've kind of done a little bit of everything.
It was a lot of fun, yeah. At the time, I hadn't played in a band that was that technical. And we were all friends at the time, too. They needed a drummer to start filling in for some shows. And I was still living down there at the time. We actually all lived together in the same one-bedroom apartment for a little while. So we're all very close. There were 6 of us in one apartment. And we just practiced and play, and we played a bunch of shows, did a tour. And then I left shortly after that tour. I moved back home up here to Paso Robles. And they got another drummer who's been with them since then. Killer drummer.
So, but you went on one tour with them, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, summer of 2012.
And how was that? Pretty cool?
It was really fun. Yes, similar kind of roughing it style. Slept on parking lot floors and some friends' houses if we could. It was a short run. You made maybe 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, I think.
Well, those are kind of nice. You're not gone too long, but yeah, you get to get out and meet new people and see new venues.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
So you, after that, you were, let me see here. I want to make sure I get this right. You were called, now, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but called by the Michael Upward. Was that what you just mentioned?
Yeah, that's
okay. So that's who that was.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, like you said, you moved home late of 2012.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you started with the band Lakes, or was that before that?
It was a little before that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were with Lakes before then?
Yeah. So while I was in college, I joined them. They're a band from up in this area. They used to be called Watashiwa. And then it was Lakes, and now it's back to Watashiwa. I still play with them.
And they're from around here.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Do they play many venues or they play out of the area a lot?
We've done Slow Brew a bunch, mostly touring and like outside of the area kind of shows.
That's cool. Yeah, it's crazy to know how many bands that are around this area that don't really play this area and tour a lot. There's a lot, right?
There's a
more
handful,
more than you would think.
Yeah, that's probably what you don't see them very often around here because they end up playing elsewhere.
Right.
Going on tour.
Another thing I've really noticed is that San Luis Obispo just literally has so many bands.
Yeah, there's a lot right now.
Going through all the different bands and all the different genres and I'm trying to get to you people, I swear. So many bands and so many different genres of people that I've never even really heard of that I'm dying to interview because, it just gets the word out for all those bands.
Yeah.
And you think that, at least I do. Sometimes I think, I know all the bands around here. And then you start really looking around and you go, I don't know any band. I just know my little circle of bands.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of great bands out here.
Yeah, a lot of good players, a lot of good bands.
Yeah.
There's a big singer-songwriter scene too. It's some really great songwriters out there.
Yeah,
locally.
I went to the New Times Music Awards.
Oh yeah.
Just this last year. Like 4 or 5 months ago or whatever it was, and I don't think I'd heard of one band, but I loved every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like they were all really good. Like I was just like, where have I been?
Yeah.
All these.
That's what I feel like too.
Great band. A lot of great solo singers.
Yes.
That solo singers that had bands that were backing them up, but they put out their own album and they had, hired guns like yourself that came in and did the recordings for them. And then when they performed at that event, they're like, oh, I I had, Teddy Ramirez was on the album, so I asked him to come tonight and play with me this evening. And it's like not necessarily those people are in their bands, but those are their guns. They're the people that they rely on to help them get the album out. And
absolutely,
so many people were winning these crazy great awards. And one thing I really thought was cool was that they were all so humble and appreciative. I saw two of them in the audience after they won their awards, and I went up and said, "Hey, I saw your performance, and I thought you were great." And they were like, "Oh, thank you," gave me hugs, and I was
That's cool.
And they knew nothing about me. Like, who's this guy, Yeah. But I thought it was really, really cool. Now, around that time, around 2012, you were going down and auditioning for like different pop stars.
Yeah.
As a drummer.
Yeah, I was trying to get into the audition circle and start playing with some of these people, because that's what I ultimately wanted to do. I wanted to start backing up pop stars and do these big tours and play with these big bands and all that. So
and did any of that ever pan out, or did you ever get any cool gigs out of that?
Some smaller ones, yeah, but the bigger ones, no.
Yeah,
no.
I bet it's got to be.
I wasn't in the circle.
I bet, yeah. I was going to say it's probably a lot of who you know and where you've been. And
yeah, accolades are a big deal. Like if someone comes in and they've already played with Lady Gaga or something, they're more inclined to get that gig over you, or like someone like me if I never even touched that world before.
Right.
So they'd really have to take a chance on me at that time.
Right, and they don't know if you're going to get out there and just bone the pooch or whatever.
Yeah, and if you got to be a good hang, you got to have the right gear. Experience is good. If you don't have any of that stuff, they're not really going to pick you.
Speaking of gear, do you have a few kits?
I used to. I play on one singular kit right now because I am gigging so much. It's a really lightweight kit. It's an old '64 Ludwig Club Date, and I play Meinl and Istanbul cymbals.
Right.
But I did have a Tama before that, and I had a Sonar. My first kit was a CB700. It's made mostly of plywood and maple. Yeah. Sounded fine to me. But
yeah. Well, whatever gets you there, right?
Exactly.
I've had a few just horrible guitars, and then I just had a friend of mine take the pickups out and put a better pickup in, and if they were comfortable to me and the neck was nice and the action was good, I was like, it's good by me. Doesn't make noise when I'm playing it, it doesn't screech or, so yeah.
A lot of the sound comes from the person playing it.
Yeah, I've noticed that there's a lot of guitar players around here where it's like, those guys have the fingers, have the hands that
they know how to play.
Yeah, and they know how to control their instrument. I've seen guys hand someone else, try my guitar out, and then the second they hand to him, yeah. So and you're like,
what is happening there?
Yeah, totally. So started with. Now I was checking this band out online. Guy by the name of Bryce Avery.
That's right.
And Rocket Summer, that's a pretty popular band, right? For the most part.
Definitely.
Went online.
Still big. Still big.
Looking at them, you guys played to some good-sized crowds, and he seems like a really great entertainer.
He really is. He's a killer frontman.
Yeah.
The way he performs live is top-notch. I don't know how he sings the way he does and continues to do the whole show.
Right.
Still sounding great night after night. I've been playing with him for 12 years now, and he's been
I didn't get a chance to see any video, but I went online and just cruised and saw a bunch of pictures, and the pictures, like seeing him, and I think I saw like 4 or 5 pictures, and I thought, man, that's somebody I'd want to see in concert.
Yeah.
Like there was one picture of him, and he's out by where the monitors would be. I don't remember if there were monitors on the stage, but somebody had taken a picture from off stage, like down in the front of the pit, but kind of like at a side angle. And he had to be 4.5 feet off the ground.
Oh, yeah, jumping up.
Yeah, he's like, and I was just like, man, you just look at it and go, that would be a great show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shows are really fun.
Yeah, it looks like it. Now, how did you go about getting in with Bryce?
That Bryce knew the singer of that band Lakes, and I was playing with them at the time.
Oh, okay.
So he was looking for a drummer, got my contact information.
Word of mouth, huh?
Word of mouth, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I sent him audition videos because the band's out of Texas. I was living out here, so I sent in videos, and it was about almost a year later is when he called me, because he had someone lined up for that coming time when I was auditioning, and circled back to me, and then ended up joining the band.
Now that was Austin. He's out of Austin, right?
Dallas.
Oh, Dallas. Because I noticed some of the pictures. There were some pictures where you were playing with him and you were in Austin.
Yep.
Yeah. How was playing in Austin?
Every time I've been there, it's been really hot.
Yeah.
Really fun though. The crowd's good. The last tour we did, we ended in Austin, and yeah, it's great. I like Austin a lot. It's kind of really vibey.
I spent about 4 or 5 months there. Just my girlfriend's daughter was out of the country, like 4 or 5 months, and didn't want to leave her house alone. So me and my girlfriend were like, let's go to Austin for 5 months and do nothing. Yeah. And we did. We just hung out there and took care of her dog, and we went to go every day. Saw music. Never the same band. Never the same band. Some good food there. Good beer places. It was this one place. It was like a theater that they had movies, and you could have. It was an old theater house, and they'd bring you food and drinks and just sit there and watch a movie.
Sounds great.
And I'd never seen that before. Now they have it here, but I thought that was pretty cool. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk to him about that band a little bit more. Thank you, sir.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today. We can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Hey, what's up, North County? Backstage Pass with the Rebel Bear. We have Mr. Teddy Ramirez in the house this evening. Thank you so much for coming in here, brother.
Happy to be here.
You played with that band for quite a while, like 12 years.
That's right. Yeah, 2013 is when I did my first tour with them, and I've been the primary live drummer since then. There's one tour I didn't do, which was last year, 2024. I had another job,
right?
So I didn't do that tour, but we just did. We just got off tour.
And playing with them was when you had your first major tour.
Oh,
like big tour.
First time like getting hotel rooms, and you roll into the venue super early and you're set up and sound check, and you go get dinner and come back and play.
That's pretty sweet.
It was a pretty cool.
Got to do that quite a bit with High Voltage.
Yeah.
Where we didn't have a bus or anything like that. We rolled our own vehicles, but we got to get to the venue, have a great sound check, go have dinner, hang out a little bit backstage, and then get ready to do that. And that's always not. It's a little more relaxing and like chills you into what you're getting ready to go do. Not so stressful.
Oh yeah. Like sound checking right before you play and then having to play is it can be a little more tasking.
Yeah, I think so too. That's why huge reason why I don't want to run sound anymore. I'm just like, it was always so stressful for me to run sound, and now I'm like, I would rather play for free and take my money and pay a sound guy. I just would rather
Having
do
good
that.
sound is a huge deal.
It is. To me, it's
Changes the
everything.
vibe.
I mean, if you think you're sounding horrible on stage while you're on stage, it ruins my whole vibe, and it makes me think, well, if this is what and no stage volume is anywhere as good as the volume outside, out front. But if it's really bad, you're like, what's it sound like out front? And
You
I
start
don't
getting
think
self-conscious.
if you're going back and forth, your PA's on stage and you dial it in and run out front, you're never going to get a true
it's
great
hard.
dial. It's just not going to happen. So that makes it kind of nerve-wracking to me.
The unfortunate challenge of being a local band in this area too.
Yeah. Well, like Eric McCornack, who we're going to talk to, he was the guy we're going to talk about. He was the guy that made me make up my mind. Like, we were talking one night, and I said, "Man, I think it's awesome that you have." And he's like one of the first guys that I know that bands like that had their own sound man. And I said, how'd you go about that? He goes, I just got tired of dealing with it.
Yeah.
He goes, I got tired of dealing with it. And he goes, and what I decided to do was I just put it into my bill. And I thought, I could do that.
Yep.
And he actually said, you could do that. You put it into your bill. Just tell him, I can come with my band and my crappy PA, and we can play, and it might sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Or I can bring my sound man, and it's going to sound like rock concert. Do you want a rock concert, or do you want a garage band? That'll be the difference. And
it's a good way to put it.
Most people, most venues are like, I want, because if the band doesn't sound good and people are like going, oh,
yeah,
they're just going to get up and leave.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the venue loses out. So to have a great sound man is super important.
Yep.
Now, in 2013, you returned back home to the amazing area of Paso Robles, California, where you auditioned for the world famous Soundhouse with Eric McCornack.
Sure did.
And did you find out about Soundhouse through an ad, or?
I'm pretty sure it was a Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
At the time. So before I was in Soundhouse, I played with this guy Mike Tozy.
Oh yeah.
The Indian Valley Band.
Yeah.
I don't know how I found them either. Might have been Craigslist, but I did start playing with them like right when I moved back home. Just a few shows. Mike and I had some disagreements, so we, didn't play together anymore. But then I was going back and forth with Eric, and then joined Soundhouse.
Now, how did you like playing? Like, that's a contrast from going from something like Rocket Summer to Soundhouse, or pretty much everything that you've done prior, right? I mean, you weren't doing a whole. Were you doing a whole lot of
I wasn't really
cover?
doing cover band gigs.
Right.
I was playing with like original bands, doing a 30, 45-minute set, maybe an hour set, and then going into the gigging world. I knew about it just from being in college, and a lot of my teachers did that. Like, they tour with big artists, or they played with big artists, but when they're home, they're doing the circuits too. And I wanted to get into it because I wanted to keep working. I wanted to keep playing.
Keep your chops up.
Keep my chops up, yep. Right. And so as soon as I got home, I was like, oh, I'm going to try to join a band. And at the time, Eric got back to me quick, and we had some mutual friends at the time, and they were looking for a drummer to come in.
Now, when you guys met, obviously you got along really well.
Yeah, Eric's a cool dude.
And
he's super easy to get along with.
Super easy, yeah. He's the coolest. I mean, I've been playing music on and off with him for, well, not on and off, but 1984, I think, is when we first started playing music together.
It's a long time.
I think he was 15 or 16 or something like that.
Dang, baby,
well, it was
Eric.
19, 18, 17. He was 16. 15 or 16, I showed up at his door when I was 19. I'm looking for a drummer.
Nice.
And I went into his house, and we played I think I had like 3 songs. We played them, and I was like, "Hey, you're a really good drummer. You want to be in my band?" He's like, "Yeah," and that's how I met him.
That's great.
I just called him out of the blue on the phone. I'm like, "I'm looking for a drummer." He's like, "Come to my house." I'm like, "All right," but yeah, he is absolutely. I don't think he's one of the hardest workers. I think he is the hardest working musician in the county.
Man, he knows how to hustle
Super.
gigs, people to come play with him. I mean, that band has had so many different local players
Right.
come through, even for just a few shows. But he knows how to get them in. He's really good at communicating everything.
Right.
Yeah, knows how to book. Great businessman, I'm sure.
Yeah, excellent. I like how he has a way of putting his foot down, and this is how it is. This is, and I wish I wished I was more like that. I'm becoming a little more like that, but I kind of want it to be a democracy where everybody gets a little bit of a vote. But he's kind of got me, understanding that. If it's a band that you want to lead and that you want it to be a certain way, it can't be that.
Yeah.
There's got to be one guy that steers the ship, and he makes the rules and he says what goes. And sometimes I have a hard time like swallowing that down, but then I think, he's right. That's kind of,
there's got to be a leader.
Yeah, and he is a great one at it. Who was all in the band when you were in that band?
Oh man, Bill Doty was playing guitar. Andy Shellcross playing bass.
Right.
And Joel James was playing guitar here and there because he was working with Collective Soul, I believe.
Oh yeah. He's roadie for
if
Collective
he was
Soul,
out,
guitar tech.
Yeah, if he was out, then he wasn't playing with us. But that was the crew at first.
Yeah, those 2 guitar players.
Killer.
Man, Bill, and his last thing before he took off, the Hate Shop. His project was, and he had Dragwater, then he had Hate Shop, and I don't know which one came first, but man, like the Hate Shop album, I have that CD, and holy Lord, it's so great.
Yeah.
And what was cool is I got to hear every one of those songs in their conception because I worked with him every day, plumbing.
Oh, cool.
So
That's
he'd
right.
be like, "Dude, I got this idea for a song," and he'd play the cassette or whatever it was, and it always sounded great. I was like, "Man, that's gonna be a great song." Now, you started doing a writer for film in 2013.
Yes, I got into film scoring in about 2015. I did a film before that. Right after college, it was just a friend's film school, like senior project or something, and she didn't have music, and so I thought I'll take a stab at it. I didn't have any gear. I used my friend's computer and his piano.
And was that Sarah Hoffman?
Sarah Huffman, that's right.
Huffman. Yeah. Okay, that's cool that she kind of hooked up with you and got you involved in that.
Yeah, that was cool. And I can't even say if any fire was started at the time for doing that, because I didn't really think about it much after that. I was still very much into melodic music. I was playing piano. I love classical, Baroque, romantic.
Oh, I love Baroque
style music.
One of my favorites of those.
Anything
eras.
emotional, like I love Enya. Imogen Heap is one of my favorite artists of all time. So that kind of realm, I was like interested in that kind of music. And then in 2015, it was like one day, it just kind of felt like I should be doing this. So I looked into what that would take to get into that kind of world. And then I auditioned. I'd written some music at the time, and I auditioned to Berklee College of Music for the online program with a piece that I wrote and actually drummed to it. So I wrote the song, and I played drums to it and made a video. And they accepted me for that. And I also had a good recommendation letter from my friend George.
Right.
He just recently passed away, but he worked for Disney for a long time. And so I got that. I had that going for me, which that was super nice of him to do, write me a letter to get into this school.
Now, was that the Berklee School of Music?
Yeah.
Wow. Now you had mentioned that to me, and that was For music composition for TV, music, and games.
Yeah, film, TV, and games. That was a degree program, music composition for film, TV, and games. So it was more specific towards the visual media.
Right.
So not only were you learning how to write music, you were learning your music theory along with making that theory fit to a certain scene from a film. Every week we were scoring a different short film or a different scene from a movie and applying all the music theory and techniques and even technical stuff that we learned from maybe like a software programming class.
Right.
And applying it to the project every week.
Wow, that's it's pretty impressive. You did your first film, The Irish Goodbye.
Yeah, that was the first notable film that I did, and that was while I was still in college. And that was another Craigslist ad that I got. I was just looking for films. I was looking up the Los Angeles Craigslist ads, seeing if anyone needed a composer for film, and I got into that one. The director's name is Ade McCormick, Ade Tukumba. This is his full name. Wonderful man. Yeah, he was doing voice acting and regular acting at the time, and he was getting into directing.
And you won Best Score at the film festival for that, right?
Yeah, it's called the Monthly Film Fest. So I won Best Score for that one.
That had to be pretty exciting, right?
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was a possibility at the time.
Right. And there you are. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And then in The German King again with Mr. McCormick in 2019, tied for Best Score at the International Film Festival. Is that what it was?
That's
right.
Was it
Cannes?
And that one also went to Cannes Festival 2 years in a row. I think the second year was featured in like an African spotlight, because the film is based in Africa and Germany. It's a true story.
Right.
It's a true story and period piece. And Ade wanted to tell that story, so it was a great film. Got featured at, like I said, for Cannes, and then the other slot the second year.
Wow. You've done some interesting stuff, buddy.
I've tried.
So 2020, was it Dar Man, senior composer for over 2 years, top 10's biggest YouTube channel in the world for that?
That's right.
And you did 113 film scores for them?
That's right. Yeah, I did 112 short films and one feature film.
Where do you find time for that? That's crazy.
All day long.
Really?
Yeah, and that was such a wild time, because their films also, the turnaround time was pretty insane, because they had their own schedule going on, and it was a company that they would at first released a film a week, and then it was 2 films a week, then eventually 3, then eventually 4 of like these short form content. Right. So eventually the team grew, the composer team grew. But at the time, I think I was one of 2 guys, and I was a senior composer at the time, and we just were rolling through films every week.
Wow, that is like just the amount of time it would take to do all that, and it's like I look at it and think, man, you had to be busy constantly.
Yeah, you had to learn how to write really quickly too.
So Bliss is Orange was a sci-fi film on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's come out on other platforms, but it was released by a YouTube channel called Dust.
And you did that also?
Yeah, me and my buddy Todd Andrews, actually.
Todd Andrews.
We co-composed that score together.
Yeah, another amazing guitar player and obviously composer. Because he does a lot of the same stuff like you do.
Oh yeah,
and
you probably heard his music on a lot of sports channels.
Yeah, I'm wanting to get him in here too, because he's quite impressive.
Yeah, you should. He's a great dude.
So before we bow out, I'd like to get a list of all the bands that you've played with since you've been here.
Yeah.
On the
I made a
Coast.
list.
Do a little.
I made a list here.
Do a little quick plug for all these bands Teddy's
right.
played in.
Hope you're all listening to this one. Got Soundhouse, Mike Tozy, Donna Lou / Lulu and the Cow Tippers, Frank Gehry and his orchestra, Adam Levine, Jim Barnett, Ray Chang in all of his iterations, Cadillac Angels, Joe Duran Fusion Group, Sold Out, Ricky Montiel, Katie Chappell, Rumble, 3 for All, Midnight Ride, the Foley's Sean Clark Family Band, the Ryan Delmore Band, Imua, Emily V, Hillary and Kate, Josh Rosenblum, Jill Knight, Bobby Santa Cruz, Dave Becker, Watashiwa, Megan Ariel, Chris Beeland, Deja Vu, Billy Fapiano, rest in peace, my man.
Yes.
Pete Pigeon, Inanna Rose, Steppin' Out, Janine Cordair, and a slew of jazz bands.
Awesome. That's amazing. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back for the last little segment. I want to thank Ted for coming in this afternoon. It's been a total pleasure having you in here. I'm stoked I got to get you in here. So, hey, we'll be right back. Backstage Pass.
My name is Jennifer Borhone-Wescombe.
And I'm Haley Wescombe from Borhone Auto Center. Borhone Auto Center is a family-owned and operated GMC dealership. We are your go-to dealership for quality vehicles. With a vast inventory and personalized service, we are here to make your purchase seamless.
Whether it's a luxurious Yukon or a rugged Sierra, we have the perfect ride for you. Come see us today to experience the Borhone family difference. We are located on the corner of Highway 46 East and Golden Hill Road in Paso Robles.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We are all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.
Hey, what's up, North County? Backstage Pass with the Rebel Bear. Hey, I wanted to thank Ted again for coming in this afternoon. It's been such a pleasure to have him. We want to thank all of our listeners and people who are tuning in. We also want to thank our amazing sponsors for making this even possible. Remember to like, subscribe, and tune in. You can find all of these shows on all the different streaming apps out there. If you want to catch any other, there you go right there. Facebook, YouTube, all that. You can catch all the other Backstage Pass shows. Once again, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Backstage Pass.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today. We can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Are you tired of looking at that worn-out concrete garage floor, patio, or porch? Look no further than MGP Coatings, where customer service reigns supreme. Our team goes above and beyond to ensure your satisfaction every step of the way. Before we even start coating, we meticulously repair your concrete, ensuring a flawless finish that lasts. And here's the best part. Our Pentec coatings are 4 times stronger than epoxy, so they won't chip or peel, making maintenance a breeze. Plus, they come with a limited lifetime warranty. Call us today at 805-952-5301 or check out our Facebook and Instagram and experience the MGP coating difference. Don't wait. Transform your garage, patio, porch, or driveway and become a part of the MGP coating family.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Hi, this is Omid
And Deanna.
at North County Junk Removal. We are a business known for helping our neighbors and our community.
Let us help you save money and get rid of any unwanted items.
And rest assured that our professional team adheres to global standards of safety and recycling. We are fully licensed and insured for your peace of mind.
We are locally owned and operated, and we look forward to helping you with all your junk removal needs.
Please call us at 805-769-6966.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We're all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.
3, 2,